All right, guys. So it is officially grill season, backyard barbecue season in Wisconsin. It's nice. So we made burgers today. If you're keeping count, it is the second time we've made burgers in the last few days. But Saturday it was smash burgers, and this wasn't, so it's different. And you're not the burger police, so quit with that crap. So I want to make a video series where I go over just like backyard barbecue in general. I think it'd be fun. And one of the places that I thought would be easiest for us to really start was with like my grill selection, I guess. So if you look at what we have here, one thing that's missing that you see on most patios is your typical gas grill. They're a great option because they're really easy to control, and if you season up your meat right and you cook it right, it's going to come off and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be a consistent product every time you use it. That being said, there's like a layer of depth in flavor that I feel like you can get using charcoal and other fuel sources that you can't really get on propane. But if you're the hang kill type and you just prefer that clean burning fuel, there's no shame in that. So we can get started here, I guess, with the Weber kettle. This is the most versatile cooker, in my opinion, that exists. We've used it for everything. This is where I started doing low and slow on. I've cooked briskets and ribs and stuff on this that can hang with anybody's anywhere. It also has a ton of attachments on it, so you can do different things with it now more easily than you could before in the past. One of the things we got for it recently actually is it's called the Kettle Pizza, and it turns the Weber kettle into a wood burning oven, right? So like a pizza oven. And we made some really awesome pizzas on this thing. Definitely plan to dial that in more this year, so maybe keep an eye out for some of those videos also. So after we used the Weber kettle for a number of years, I ended up investing in a Traeger. This is where I felt like I got really serious about low and slow, and we started doing a lot of it because these grills are fairly expensive. So you want to use it just to feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it. At this point, we don't use it as much anymore. If anything, it gets the bulk of its use in like July, August, when it's really hot out. You don't want to use your oven and get your kitchen hot. So whatever we would cook in the oven, we'll just bring out here and actually cook on the Traeger these days. We ended up moving on to a drum smoker that I made, and the biggest reason with that is it's very similar to the propane grill. Wood pellets do get you like an element of wood flavor on the food, but it's very clean. Like, it's a very clean burning fuel, so it's not, the smoke flavor isn't like as hearty or robust as you would typically get on like an offset smoker or even this right here. So I made this drum smoker just out of a basic drum. You want to clean them out and get like the liner off of the insides and stuff like that, but this is what we do most of our smoking on, and the barbecue that comes off of this can hang with anybody's anywhere, and that's what I really want to show you guys how to use and what to do. So if you look at the anatomy of the ugly drum smoker, on top you have a Weber kettle lid. It's got a damper. This is how, with the intakes, we control the temperature of the grill. Now, with this one in particular, I did end up adding a fan controller that makes it very similar to a Traeger, and the reason I did that was mostly out of, I was kind of desperate. So I didn't realize the guys who advised me to make these intakes don't live in a very cold climate. They're from down south, and they use 3/4 intakes all year round. And by the time we got around to like October, November, the outdoor temps were too low for the 3/4 intakes to keep up with the smoker. I've since found out that guys use more like 1.25 in more northern, colder climates. So if you did want to make one of these, just keep that in mind. Size up your intakes from this, and it'll cook really, really consistently. I'm talking like 12, 14, 16, even 18 hours. 18 more summer months without a problem. You don't have to babysit this thing and adjust the dampers and all that kind of stuff. However, now I have I drilled a hole in the back where I put a PID fan controller in, and I just control my temperature off of that. And there's another level of like security that you have similar to the Traeger. You can like leave home and monitor the temperature of the cook, and you know what's happening with it. Not that that's that important, because what are you going to do if something goes wrong and you're not home anyways? But at least, I guess, if something did happen, you could rush home and take care of it. So if you look at the grill in general, I'll push this over. You'll notice I got intakes. I went over the lid, and there's 3 sets of screws that go around the smoker. So this is my cooking surface 1, cooking surface 2, and this is a baffle plate here. So we take the lid off. What's nice is the Weber kettle lid fits really nicely, fits snug on a 55-gallon drum. However, what a lot of guys do is they trim back this rim a little bit, and it'll fit even more snug, or you can actually use the bottom end of the drum, flip it over, and it fits more snug on the bottom end of the drum than it does the top. So that rim's smaller down there. If I would have known that, I would have done it, but it's not a big deal because it still fits nice anyways. So anyways, cooking surface number 1. This is where I do most of my cooking. If I'm cooking for a big group and say I'm doing like 2 briskets, I'll offset them. You could fit 4 on there, but the problem what'll happen is like 1 brisket will sweat, and that sweat and moisture will fall on the brisket under it, and it'll actually wash off all of the rub and the seasonings and stuff. So you really want to try to avoid that the best you can. You can do that definitely with ribs. I've cooked 6 racks of ribs on this consistently, and it's not a problem at all. However, most of the time, this second cooking surface is just where I put my temperature sensor for the grill. So this plugs in to the PID fan controller that's in the back on the bottom of the grill. Then there's another one that's usually in here that I'll like put into the meat. So this is like your meat temperature sensor. So we take out cooking surface number 2, and then we have our baffle plate down here. Kind of looks like, I don't know, a sundial type of thing, but it's called a fire dial. And all this does is prevent you from having like hot spots at the cooking surface, because in the bottom you have what's called a fire basket. Some guys call it a fire engine. And this is mostly filled with charcoal of your choice. You can use briquettes, or you can use lump charcoal, or just use whatever's available to you, and then you mix in wood chunks with it. Whatever wood chunks you want, depending on what you're cooking, might make a difference, right? I'm not going to pull it out because it's half full of ash right now. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to cover on that. That's pretty much the anatomy of the pellet grill, or I mean of the Ugly Drum smoker. I guess we'll close off and let me know what you guys want to see for a first cook. So hit up the comments, let me know. Bye.